Recognizing and dealing with difficult relationships, presented by the University of North Georgia's Student Counseling Center. Types of difficult relationships. Number 1, the critic.
The number one exhausting relationship is the critic in your life, who is constantly complaining and gives unwanted advice. The critic is a problem solver and is direct and unfiltered. Some advice is right. Empathy helps in managing the critic. It is usually their attempt to get affirmed by others. Start with clarifying. What I hear you saying is, wait for confirmation that you heard the advice correctly, then limit the criticism you will allow. Take a deep breath and don't allow your inner critic to respond defensively, which will not achieve your goals of validation. Instead, respond with, I hear what you are saying, but I am comfortable with my decision.
Number 2, the martyr.
The second type of difficult personality trait is the martyr, forever the victim and racked with self-pity. I call this a learned helplessness. It can leave you feeling emotionally drained. Limiting your time with negativity and Debbie Downers is sometimes necessary. You will need to focus on your own self-care to refuel your own energy level after being with a victim-like person. Somehow, the martyr may have learned that he or she didn't deserve help even though they may need it. Their feelings perhaps didn't get validated by a controlling parent, or they learned that they had to rely on themselves to get their needs met. First-hand dealing with the martyr will require you to lower your expectations, not focusing on their response, but on your own compassionate intent. If you give a gift, don't expect a joyous reaction. Instead, focus on your action of gratefulness. Underneath is a sense of low self-worth. Change will be slow for a martyr, some requiring years of counseling. Rather than giving advice, help them pinpoint the problem in hopes they will see a solution is possible.
Number 3, the wet blanket.
The next type of high-maintenance relationship is the wet blanket, someone who is pessimistic and always negative. They say things like, it's no use trying. I tried it before and it didn't work. You'll never make it. There is no way. Cynicism reeks from their mouths. Underneath are feelings of rejection, deflected by finding fault in anything good. They are waiting for the ball to drop after something good happens. They are also good at deflating your emotional high, finding the one negative out of an overall good event. Their negativity spreads to others. By dismissing any good idea, they avoid failure. Tip: monitor your own self-talk and have a can-do attitude if you find you are infected by the wet blanket way of thinking. Use realistic thinking to counter the gloom and doom. Give them an example of a time it did work. Align yourself with optimistic people who encourage your dreams.
Number 4, the steamroller.
Equally as difficult as the steamroller, someone who is blindly insensitive to others as a way to protect their own vulnerabilities. Tip: acknowledge the difficulty openly when appropriate, then find the good in their advice, such as their ability to make decisions. Suggest evaluating the solution as a team after implementation to see how it's working. Avoid a power struggle. Ask for alternative solutions while brainstorming ideas. Set personal boundaries.
Number 5, the gossip.
We all know a person who is the gossip, someone who spreads rumors and leaks secrets behind your back. The gossip says things like, "Don't tell anyone I told you this," but the gossip is nosy and looks for someone's embarrassing moments, perhaps on social media, that they can twist the meaning. The gossip is entertained by sharing news about someone else. It is usually their attempt to deflect from their own insecurities. It's a mind game to keep others from getting to know the real self. Tip: confront them with, "Are you sure you have your facts straight, or just wondering if this is true?" You can also put into action in the moment by saying, "Let's get them on the phone or come over to discuss this." Tip: walk away when they start to gossip, letting them know you are not comfortable with hearing gossip.
Number 6, the control freak.
We all know a control freak in our lives, someone who is trying to control their own inward anxiety by trying to control their outcomes. They expect perfection themselves, and they expect others to follow these rules too. They're often rigid and inflexible. Point out that you see they are anxious about that situation. Tip: don't take it personally. You may have to gently point out that you would like to make some of the decisions and take turns with the ideas. If you are doing something and the friend tries to tell you that you are doing it wrong, remind them that there are many ways to do things and that this is your domain.
Number 7, the backstabber.
Let's talk about the backstabber. Nice to your face, but two-faced, often keeping mental notes to get revenge for being wronged. They may be angry or respond with a passive-aggressive emoji sticker, hiding behind a mask and smiling to your face while plotting to do their own thing. The best way to deal with this type of person is to confront their behavior by gently letting them know that you see what they are doing. If it is necessary, keep record of texts and emails so you can protect yourself if you are harassed or thrown under the bus.
Number 8, the cold shoulder.
Some friends will communicate by giving you the cold shoulder treatment as a way to disengage and avoid uncomfortable feelings. They often hide emotions, and you feel like you have to pull information out of them. Don't respond with silence also out of your hurt feelings. Keep talking it out and tell them what you need from them in the relationship.
Number 9, the green-eyed monster.
Then we have the green-eyed monster who is full of envy. Underneath is anger. They feel threatened by you. Envy is fueled by suffering or lack of contentment, a type of self-loathing. Tip: point out successes you see them accomplish. Don't hide your own strengths just to keep the peace. Point out that disappointments and happy moments are part of life's journey.
Number 10, the volcano. The volcano is quick-tempered and hostile, always ready to erupt. They learn to protect themselves from potential pain using anger and aggression. Tips: acknowledge that anger is a natural human emotion. Try to empathize without allowing their anger to contaminate you. Set a boundary of not allowing the volcano to make you a scapegoat for their anger, and help them to identify the true source of their anger. Number 11, the sponge.
Then there is the sponge, clingy, needy, smothering, and self-absorbed. The sponge often makes things into a crisis. Diffuse the crisis. Say no and don't feel guilty about it. Work on your own boundaries.
Number 12, the competitor.
Next, we have the competitor who keeps track of tit for tat like a tennis match, waiting to one-up you.
Number 13, the workhorse.
Comparing yourself to a workhorse friend who has perfectionistic tendencies and always pushes themselves can lead to a negative perception of yourself. Tip: don't compete and do set your own goals at your own pace. You can acknowledge this is their strength.
Number 14, the flirt.
Then we encounter the flirt who makes offensive jokes which may border on harassment or Title IX issues. Underneath the flirting is a lonely person who is attention-seeking. The flirt may get a high from gaining power over your attention. Tip: tell them they are making you feel uncomfortable. Know your rights if it becomes harassment.
Number 15, the chameleon.
Another difficult personality type is the chameleon, eager to please and avoids conflict at all costs, insecure and indecisive. By being indecisive and 100% agreeable, this type of person avoids blame for making any decisions, wanting you to decide instead in case they make a wrong decision. Tip: give them encouragement to make small decisions. Let them know you value their honest opinion on things. These labels from a book by Dr. Perot called High Maintenance Relationships and How to Handle Impossible People. The most important thing to remember is if you are rooming or have a friend who is categorized as a high maintenance relationship and are drained emotionally or physically, you can try to resolve it. However, if the pattern continues, get out of that relationship. Surround yourself with people who are positive, encouraging, uplifting, and accept you unconditionally, flaws and all. If you need more help, call Student Counseling at 706-867-4402 or walk into our office to talk to someone.